Hello, 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 and welcome to People Talk Now. I'm your host, Vanessa Herrera, and this is the show where you ask about it and I talk about it. And let's not forget, you guys, that we are constantly, it seems, trying to change the pace out there and what people are calling better days. So, yes, good morning, grand rising. I hope that you woke up and we are ready to get our shit together today. I don't know if that made any sense, but whatever. We're going to just go with it. Also, I just wanted to say, if you are here this morning and you're about to enjoy episode 67 with me, I want you to just give yourself a hug, give yourself a pat in the back, because god damn am I happy to have you here with me on this journey. And I'm grateful, I'm happy. And, I don't know what else to say, but I really hope that if you woke up today and you're, for some reason, like just not feeling today, and you just don't know how to get yourself out of the funk, remember, this is a reminder from me to you that, look, you woke up alive today, so that means that there's a purpose for you, and you have something going on. Like, you have a reason to live today because you're alive. So there's still a purpose, there's still time, and you need to start fulfilling your dreams in whatever way. Like, there's always a way. So, yes. So, for episode 67, I did an Instagram poll on People Talk Now Instagram, and I asked some of you guys, what is it that you guys wanted me to talk about? I said, did you guys want me to talk about breaking down walls, or did you guys want me to talk about relationships? You guys voted. There was a poll, and you guys chose breaking down walls within. I'm very glad that you guys chose breaking down walls within, because breaking down walls within is something that I'm actually very passionate about. It is something that I had to go through, and I wanted to read something that I wrote so that you guys can understand what that means to me. And then I'll go ahead and obviously share some impactful ways and tips that you guys can kind of just get through it, But in the meantime, I wanted to tell you guys something that I wrote down called Breaking Down My Walls. And, it's something that I wrote in my spare time, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it and that you understand that what I'm about to share is it's very not just personal, but it's also very valid for you to be able to actually go through what you're going through. And if you are going through it and you want to kind of go completely through it so that you can move on and grow within and just break those walls down and just set yourself free, then I really feel like this story that I'm about to share might help you. So, I wanted to make sure that I obviously share it with you guys and I say exactly how it came out of me so that it makes sense to you. So, many of us, unfortunately, have had to face a horrible thing called heartbreak, right? Whether it be from a romantic relationship or even a family member. So these experiences tend to dictate how we live our lives. And I, for one, faced a great deal of heartbreak, and it turned me into a stone wall at one point in my life. So the funny thing is, though, I didn't even realize it for the longest time, that until I tried to open up to someone and let myself be in a new relationship, that it's safe to say I ended up doing more harm than expected. And because I was so capable of shutting people out of my life, when I felt like my comfort zone was being violated. So getting uncomfortable with where I was meant that I wasn't vulnerable to the things around me, and I was incredibly prideful of the things I stood for, which would often sometimes have a negative impact on my relationships. So writing this topic is seriously hard for me. It is. And because there are things I hate to accept about myself, this particular issue of being incredibly guarded is something I constantly had to battle with. But I've learned to work around. This is where the awful thing called pride comes into play, and it never got me anywhere. I found with these inner struggles of keeping people out that it has only prevented me from getting closer to those around me. These walls that I held up were being supported by fear, where I thought I could do things on my own. And I didn't need to let anyone see my weaknesses, right? And that's kind of one of the reasons why we tend to put that wall up in the first place, because we feel like, well, it's better to not get hurt. It's better to not need anybody. It's just so much safer. It's so much easier that way, When I started dating someone again, and like in my past, I would always say to myself, first of all, I became fearful of these walls. I was too afraid to let this person, whoever I was dating at the time, see the damaged parts of me that could possibly be hurt again. And it's the truth. And with time, I slowly realized that these walls were coming down, and I was allowing, this person to see the toughest and hardest parts of me. But thankfully, I managed to do certain things that kind of got me over that. So I just want to say this really amazing quote by Andrew Murphy. And the quote goes like this. It says, "You are confined only by the walls you build yourself." And it's so true. Like, it's so simple, but yet so true. By allowing myself to be vulnerable, to just love, to just feel things, I was able to find out more about who I was by being more expressive about how I felt things, how it affected me, how I wanted to feel. And it relieved me from burdens that I didn't realize I was putting on myself by being so guarded all the time and not allowing myself to feel certain things, And this is my advice to anyone out there. If for anyone who builds walls around themselves, it totally makes sense. I completely understand why you would do it, But I've also found out that it's not always worth it, If you allow yourself to let loose and trust yourself and others, you'll find some other deeper parts of yourself. And I understand that it's not easy to, it's easier said than done, right? Like, it really is. Unfortunately, I just want to say this, that heartache is part of the human condition. But just because you've experienced pain doesn't mean that you have to suffer for the rest of your life. It's unfortunate, that we have to feel tragedy, that we have to feel loss, we have to feel pain and suffering, These are just a spectrum of things of the human experience that we have to feel sometimes. There's no way around it. There's no way to avoid unwanted occurrences and feelings for your entire life unless you just build up a wall and you're like, no, I don't want to feel these things. I don't want to feel hurt. And so you just put up the wall because you're like, I don't want to feel those things. I don't want to go around it. But do you really want to spend your whole life avoiding things? Do you want to really spend your whole life in a suit of armor, just feel guilty all of the time? Like, you don't want that. I am going to basically share some impactful ways that you can kind of navigate yourself through it, So here are some 5 steps. We'll do 5 steps that you can kind of get through the whole breaking down of the walls thing, and then after that we'll share another 5 impactful ways that are more emotional to kind of like balance yourself, right? So one of the things I would definitely like to say is that, number 1, open up, because I know we'd have to override that unspoken childhood rule about don't talk, shut up, don't talk. Identify someone in your life, people in your life that they're trustworthy in your life and that you trust talking to them. And I would just say, talk about the things that you never would have before. Be vulnerable. Talk, and talk some more. Okay? Just throw out that whole stigma of like you talking too much, or sorry, someone wanted to be in the video today. Just definitely talk, right? Because that's like the main thing right there. Like, that's the beginning of you opening up. Because any of the other things that I say here today will not matter if you don't release some of that pain that's kind of caused you to put up that wall in the first place. So I would just say, I know it seems really hard, but trust me when I say that, because I've allowed myself to be vulnerable, I would say key word, I've allowed myself to just open up and just say, you know what? I can't live my life closed up like this. I just can't, because it causes you more turmoil to like keep yourself constrained and just so tight knitted that you don't allow anything to make you happy. You're just half-assing the happiness. So I definitely would say just try to talk about things, open up, find someone that you feel is trustworthy, right? Find that person that you trust and start there. Start a little bit at a time, you know? Number 2, make friends with your emotions. So several times each day, you know, close your eyes, focus inward and ask yourself, what am I feeling? Like, what am I feeling right now? And don't think that it's weird. Don't think that it's strange for you to ask yourself these things, because it's not. There's absolutely nothing strange about you trying to be happier, for you to break down walls that have just kept you constrained for so many years, maybe since your childhood. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So pay attention to how you feel about things and listen to those feelings. Actually listen. Right? Because you always tell other people, oh, listen to yourself, listen to this. And maybe you give other people advice about things, but have you really considered giving yourself your own advice? Know that your feelings matter. Your feelings are always valid. You know, that's kind of one of the things that helped me break down walls myself as well, because I would always say to myself, like, oh, you know, like I shouldn't be feeling this, or, you know, I just need to be strong, because I did grow up with a mentality. My parents were always like, you need to be strong, and there was no being weak, and all those things are great, you know. Certain things about my childhood, like I always say, like, it's great being strong, it's great being strong-headed and all that stuff. But to a certain degree, I had to overcome certain things, because I had to tell myself it's okay for me to feel certain things, because of the mentality of like being strong. I used to put walls up, because I'm like, no, because if I feel this, it makes me weak, and I don't want to be weak. You know, I ain't no weak ass person, right? Like, that's what I would say. But it came with the category. Like, I had to allow myself to say, hey, it is completely normal for me to feel that. And I'm saying it's completely normal for you to feel what you feel. Don't ever question yourself like in that manner. You know, your feelings are always very valid. It's feelings that come up sometimes that are very difficult to handle, and I get that, because, you know, there's times where sometimes you don't want to feel with certain things, you rather just avoid it and tiptoe around it, and I get it, because I've had to do that. I didn't want to like face certain feelings. If you feel like maybe they're just a little bit too much for you to handle, and like you can't even trust somebody in your family, like maybe you can't go to anybody, you're like, no, I'm sorry, I can't, but you know that you want to break those walls down, maybe this is the time for you to go and find a trained therapist. Get that support that you need and that help that you need, and just so that you can be able to learn to tolerate the things that you feel, or maybe manage them even, right? But just try at first to make friends with your emotions, and just ask yourself, what are you feeling? Why are you feeling that? And see what you come up with. Number 3, take your own needs seriously, right? This is super important. So override the unspoken childhood rule. Don't ask, you know, don't ask this, don't ask that. Tell the people in your life when you need help and support, and let them help you. And that's something that has to do with what I was just talking about when I explained, you know, breaking down my own walls, was that I grew up having a lot of pride, you know, like, no, I got this. I could do it by myself. I don't need anybody. And like, you felt that if maybe somebody helped you, then that meant that you couldn't handle things on your own. But listen, hey, you, right? Hey, you. So it's okay to get help from other people. Like, that's the whole point of us growing and becoming better people. It's part of the process. So you got to let that pride down. You got to let that guard down and start letting people chip at the wall, and let people help you so they can go find you on the other side of that wall. Okay? Because if you can't be saying, I want people to see me for me, but they can't see you because you got a 30-foot wall in front of you. Okay? So listen, if you want people to help you, allow them to help you. Allow them in. Number 4, let people in. I know I just talked about this, but fill your life with quality people. Have you guys ever heard that saying, show me the 5 people in your life and I'll show you your success, or something like that? I don't fucking know, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So basically, the 5 people that are in your life determine how far you're going to go in life, right? And so with that being said, people that truly care about the way you feel, about where you're going to go in life, that value your emotions, and that value you being happy. Make sure that you have those meaningful relationships in your life, and that there's a primary source of a goodness in your life, and that you have connections and that give your life true meaning. And nobody knows what that meaning is but you. Like, you're the only one that knows what kind of meaning you want in your life. See, me, I tend to hang around people that started from the bottom and now they're here. And so I'm just gonna say this: definitely make sure that you have people that are just as much trying to become better people and break down walls just like you. Number 5, get to know who you are. All right, I know this is probably sounds very hard, but believe it or not, sometimes some of us, we don't really know if we've never been alone. We've never asked ourselves these questions. So pay attention to everything about yourself. What kind of person are you? What kind of bad habits do you have? What do you love, dislike? What do you excel at? What do you struggle with? What are some of the things that you struggle with? What's important to you? What are your values? What do you care about? Right? Once you see the full picture of who you are, you will see your value and your worth, and you'll actually feel stronger for it. So that's something, when I was breaking down my own walls, I had to get to this point where I broke down bad, and I had to ask myself, like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? And it was so painful. I was like, oh, God, what do I want? What do I want? But it's true, right? You have to get to that core and I feel like once you get closer to that core, you'll start breaking down. Like, the wall will just crumble, because it'll be like, wow, I'm starting to realize that everything that I thought was so significant, that was causing me turmoil to put up this wall, is not even important as I thought it was. Like, it's like, maybe it is, maybe or it isn't, but you have to find out how important that is to you. I'm going to ask you this: do these steps sound easy to you? Probably not, because they're not easy steps. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that breaking down my own walls was a thing that happened overnight or in a week or a month. It wasn't. It was work in progress. It's something that took years. Sometimes, I felt like I just had everything under control, and then one day, like right when I thought I was letting the wall down, it came back up. But trust me when I say that once that wall is broken, man, does life look so good on the other side. It really does. And you'll definitely begin to see, keep in mind, let me just say this, like, you're not looking to blast the wall, right? You're not looking to blast the wall right open, because you have to tell yourself, like, how much can I handle? Like, this is an emotional battle sometimes. So how much can you handle? You want to chip it slowly, gradually, just like everything else I've told you guys in life, like one step at a time. Stop trying to bite more than you can chew type of thing. It's the same thing, bit by bit. Just try to work on it bit by bit every day. Like, whether you give yourself that 1%, that's all I'm asking. Give yourself that 1% little by little. And you're going to see, since the wall stands not only between you and your emotions, but also between you and the world, your life will get better and better and better by every chip by chip by chip that you make into that wall. You feel me? Each time that you open your heart and you choose a person in your life, each time you notice something new about yourself, each time that you listen to a feeling that you're having in your gut, maybe you're chipping away, like you really are. You're breaking the childhood bonds that have held you back all these years. You're making a decision to live life your way. And that's important when you're trying to break those walls. Like, and I can't even like explain how important this is, because it, like, you breaking down the walls is you saying, I am ready to live my life. Like, I'm so tired of being chained and held back, and I'm just don't give a fuck anymore. And I don't mean it in an unhealthy way, like fuck you and fuck you. No, I mean, like, you're ready to say, I'm ready to live my life for what it is, and just be happy. You're taking that chance. You're just saying, okay, let's go, bada bing, bada boom. Counting yourself worthy, saying, I'm worthy of this, and filling yourself with the most powerful feel there is. You're not gonna be no longer living your life just running on empty, and not finding that happiness that you want to feel, like, it's finally going to just make sense to you, But you have to understand that it's definitely dangerous to keep emotional walls up, or just not letting your walls down, because it can definitely lead to you feeling very isolated. It can lead to you feeling resentment And I'm just going to say this coming from a person who has broken walls down within herself and just said, you know what, man, I am not going to live my life on the outside anymore. I'm going to live within for myself, for the things that I enjoy, for the things that I want, which is exactly what I would want from you guys. And, you know, and if you're here today and you're listening to this show, it's because you're like, I'm so done being back here behind this wall where it's dark and I'm not getting enough sunlight and it's just depressing and it's sad, and I'm ready to feel joy. I'm ready to like just let my guard down and just, you know, because you'll see. And like I said, you know, earlier, and, you know, as I was talking, was that, you know, there's no way for you to avoid it. Like you're going to feel sometimes letdowns. You're going to feel sadness sometimes, you know, because, you know, it's unavoidable. You know, but the thing is that once you start recognizing yourself and the things that you like and the things that you love and value, is that when these things are presented in front of you, you're going to find it easier to overcome those situations where you're like, oh God, I don't want to feel hurt. I don't want to feel this. And you become emotionally stronger so that you don't feel the need to put up any wall. You're just like, okay, this is what I like. This is what I don't like, you know? You don't want to try to attempt to shield yourself from a future discomfort, because you could be losing out on something really amazing for your future. You could be losing out on love, on friendships, on connections, and like you don't want that for yourself. Right now, I'm going to basically share with you guys some impactful ways to break down your emotional walls and find a deeper love and connection for yourself. These are signs that you have actually built emotional walls. Maybe you don't feel intense joy or deep sadness. You're in a relationship and your partner may doubt your love for them. You are an able manager of your emotions. You can minimize the discomfort you feel when your feelings go unexpressed. You engage in self-sabotage in your romantic relationships, ending the relationship before you can get hurt. Maybe people have told you that you are hard to read. Living a single life might be your preference. Do any of these sound familiar to you? Try to take a deep breath and explore it if it might be possible that you're living behind emotional walls. Are your walls preventing you from forming a deep love connection or ability to experience a vital and passionate life? And if they are, then chances are you do have a wall up. And I'm just here to say that
it's time to break that motherfucker down.
Because it will not do you no good in the long run. If you genuinely woke up one day and you said to yourself, I want to be happy. I'm tired of living like this. I want to feel happiness because I know that I'm meant to have it. These are going to be helpful for you. And I really hope that they really do help you, you know? Number 1, find a good therapist. Now, this could be a professional therapist, or this could be just a really good friend, a good family member, somebody that has a good head on their shoulders and always has, like, you know, that person that you just go to that has that good advice. You know what I'm talking about, right? We all have one of those persons that you're just like, and if you don't, that's what I'm here for. And if you don't want to talk to me, that's fine too. You can go to a therapist. There's always a way for you to explore and find someone that's good for you, you know? So a good therapist can kind of help you explore reasons why you may feel emotionally unsafe. You kind of like uncover what's been keeping you that way, working deep within your subconscious, and just, you know, you can develop a skill to ask others what you want and what you need to heal this childhood wound, you know? Because I always say a lot of this stuff, a lot of these traumas, a lot of these walls that we build up, they either start from childhood because maybe we are not taught how to not just deal with rejection and stuff like that. Maybe we aren't taught that, or because maybe we are rejected so much that we just don't want to feel that. We don't like it. It's very discomfort. It's a very discomfort. I'm over here making up words. It's discomforting. So maybe we rather put up a wall because it's so much easier, right? So definitely, you know, find someone that you are comfortable with talking with, whether that be a loved one that always has really, you know, is very supportive and is there for you and always says, hey, if you know, take them up on the offer and just talk to them about things that, you know, are concerning you. And if, again, you feel like you can't do that, then please, I would advise that maybe you do seek a therapist that can maybe help you out because in the long run, sometimes all we need to do is just open up and talk about things. Number 2, explore the formation of your emotional wall. So putting words to it, it kind of helps you give a perspective sometimes, like, the ability to heal yourself. So when you were born, you weren't worried about getting your feelings hurt. I assure you, when you were a newborn, I'm sure you weren't in your diapers and being like, oh, I hope such and such doesn't break up with me. So we know that maybe this isn't something that you just, that you're just born with. No, you were not born with that wall in your heart. I assure you, you were born out of your mother's womb, and I assure you that there was no walls. You were trying to reach out and grasp some air into your lungs because you were just born. You were born full of life. And that life was not meant to be guarded up by a wall. I assure you that. That I am at least positive of, And, I didn't always think like this. I wasn't always like, yeah, like, this, and that, because it happened to me. And it was hard. It was years of just like saying, one day I just said, you know what? I want to become better. And I just want to be emotionally like happy. I just want to be better. And I would explore every outlet, whether it be me reading books, self-help books, whether it be me just talking about things, and yeah, sure. I had my fair share of people stabbing me in the back, of people whom I lost trust in and things like that. But these are all learning experiences. And along the way, you learn to navigate, you learn to become stronger in a very emotionally healthy way. Like, versus before where, you just think that this is a normal way of life, which is not, So definitely, your emotional armor that you think just kind of you were born with, which I'm telling you, you were not born with an emotional armor. Just know that it is very much possible to break it down. By you breaking it down, definitely it gives you strength to cope with like painful feelings. Maybe sometimes, like there's sometimes situations where, like for example, sometimes some people use loss, right? Like maybe you lost somebody who you were really close to, and sometimes you just want to put up a wall because you don't want to deal with the pain, And me, coming from a person who, I'm telling you straight head on that I lost somebody who was very near and dear to me, and I cried. I just cried like a baby, and it's okay to cry, and it's okay to feel pain. Like it's okay to go through that, your sadness. And I think sometimes what makes it it's hard, I understand it's hard for you to cope with certain feelings, but understand that in the long run, you are doing yourself a favor, and you'll feel so much better for it. You just will. And it strengthens you every time, so that when you are in these situations, basically you're able to cope with them a lot better, and you know how to handle yourself. Number 3, identify what emotional safety would look and feel like for you. So creating an emotional safety will most often look like the opposite of your childhood experience. So if as a child you had an angry parent, emotional safety might be fostered through calm voices and patience. Or if you experienced unkind words, feeling safe might include positive words of affirmation. If expressing emotions was not allowed in your childhood home, feeling safe would consist of the ability to adequately express your feelings without being shut down, ignored, or invalidated. So it's kind of like when people say, let me see. When people tell you that what you think you can become, right? So like you manifest what you want out of life. You think it, and you kind of pray on it, and then you work on it, and then eventually it becomes a thing. What does emotional safety look like to you? For me, emotional safety is talking myself through things. And it doesn't matter if I sound crazy. I have to tell myself sometimes that right when I want to be like, oh God, no, I don't want to feel this, I have to tell myself, you're going to be okay. Like, you're all right. Like, you've been through this before. You've been through pain and sadness before. And pain and sadness, it's a scale, like it's either going to be really heavy or really light, and just understand that Doesn't matter if it's heavy or light. The one thing that you need to understand is that whether it's painfully heavy or it's painfully light, you can fix it. It can be cured. Do you understand? And maybe you can get it from heavy to light, but the point is that it can be fixed. Okay, so that's something that you definitely need to understand, that identify what is emotional safety for you, and just go from there. Definitely understand, just try to keep in mind that whether it's super heavy on the scale or it's super light, that you can fix it. It can be fixed, it can be cured. It's not something that it's just a sickness and it's in us and we're like always gonna feel all this pain and stuff. That's not true, you know? And that's kind of what has helped me a lot, you know, breaking down walls within myself, saying like, you know what, I've experienced this before and it'll get better, you know? Like, it's not going to stay like this forever. Just understanding that little small detail is really helpful. You know, if you're someone that has a partner or a spouse, begin couples therapy or just talk about it. Definitely before going to therapy, I would just suggest communication is key. Because so much of your childhood wound plays out in your relationships as well with the love partner. A good couples therapist can also help you learn how to communicate in a way that fosters emotional safety and healing. You know, couples counseling is an excellent place to start this process and learn how to build your new muscle to express emotion. Maybe you were never able to express yourself emotionally. You have to understand that everything starts with the foundation. If you started your relationship with this kind of foundation, then chances are that's how it's going to continue building. But if you want to change things, I would just say sit down and talk about the things that, you know, you'd be surprised, you know, just talk about some of the things that, you know, emotionally have caused you to build up walls, childhood things, talk it out. Like, that's why they're your partner. Like, you should be able to talk to your partner about things that make you sad, things, childhood traumas and all these things. And sometimes your partner will be the one that help you out the most. They should be the one to be able to, at least if they're not, then don't put it on them, you know, like that's something that you have to heal yourself. Also understand that if maybe you something that you both need to go and do together, that's always an option. Counseling is always an option because, you know, sometimes, you know, I know counseling is looked at something that like, oh, it's a bad, like if you go to that, like suddenly things are bad. No, that's actually very admirable that you would actually be able to go somewhere and look for more guidance and more information. You know, that means that you're really trying. I would think that if you don't do any of those things, then you probably do not want to tear any walls down. And, you know, I don't want you to feel that way. And building up walls comes in so many ways, whether it be emotional, whether it be anger. Like, there's just so many things that cause us to build up walls in the first place. So just understand that if you need that help, and if it has to do with you building a wall because of a relationship, find that help, seek it out, and just know that if you feel that it's worth it, it's valuable to you, then that's what you'll do. Number 5, build up your ability to be resilient. So building up your ability to be resilient will allow you to bounce back from painful emotions. So these are some things, techniques for rebuilding. So practicing optimism is really good for you. You know, definitely helped me in like breaking down my walls. I was just like, I'm the most optimistic person you ever meet. Like, even in situations now where everyone's just like, holy shit, things have just hit the fan. There's no way that we're gonna just get through this. I'm always like, but you know, things we'll get good. We'll be okay. And it's true. Practicing optimism really does help. Rewrite your story, okay? Like, the fact that we think that if we're feeling a certain way, like that's just the way we're gonna feel for the rest of our lives. That's not true. That's your wall lying to you. There's another person behind that wall, that person that's hurt, that person is lying to you, that person is not telling you the truth. The person that's on the other side wants to be free. Listen to that person. That person, rewrite your story. Your story doesn't have to be the way it is right now. Okay? Because there was a time where I felt like I was just going to be on a road of sadness and I was never going to be happy, and I was there. I was depressed. I was fucking sad. I thought, this is it for me. Like, I'm just never going to be happy. I'm always going to feel this pain. I'm always going to have this wall up. And that was not true. I decided to rewrite my story and to become who I always wanted to be. Because it's your fucking story. It's your life. And no one is in charge of your story but you. Don't personalize it. Don't put too much thought into everything. I know that's something that we tend to be overthinkers. And it just ends up being so hard on ourselves. And that just makes you breaking down your wall so hard, so don't personalize it so much. Don't put names to everything, like, just because you can't figure things out. Support others. Sometimes supporting others definitely helps us in breaking down our own walls, emotional walls, or whatever kind of wall you've built up that you don't want to, whatever pain you don't want to feel. Support others. Sometimes supporting others really helps us in feeling good about ourselves. And little by little, like I said, we're chipping away at the wall. We're just, and it's really helpful. It feels really good. Take stress breaks. I can't stress this enough. Take breaks. Don't try to tackle everything all at once. You are a work in progress. You are a masterpiece. At the end of this, you will be the most amazing, beautiful masterpiece there is. And you have to take your time. Nobody became who they wanted to be overnight. Unless they wanted to. Then that's also amazing. And go out of your comfort zone. It's crazy. This is probably best advice I'm going to give you today. If you made it this far in the video, I just say go out of your comfort zone. I thought I had everything figured out for the longest time. I thought that I was good, but little did I know that the one thing that was still just holding that wall up within me was the me just not being able to go out of my comfort zone. And the day I just said, you know what, fuck this, I am who I am, and there will be never anything more unless I want it to be, and breaking that comfort zone is just so liberating. Just being able to be myself 100% around people and just saying this is who I am, and just the whole if people don't like that, then just putting that wall because you're just so scared of what people maybe think about you, or you're just so scared of what if you fail, or what if you this. But the truth is none of those things will ever happen if you don't step through that wall and come through, so that we can see who you are, And I'm sure you, just as well as anybody else, you want to show who you really are. And that's the crazy thing, just don't overthink it. Don't make it so personal. Just go out of your comfort zone, and you'll be surprised the things that start manifesting in your life when you do. Deciding to tear down your emotional wall requires commitment. You have to be committed. You have to be. And practice expressing your feelings through communication in an environment that feels good to you, And you'd be surprised. You would really be surprised. But just understand that this is what I'm about to tell you. You can actually do this. You really can. And you don't have to miss out on the most beautiful aspects of your life anymore. Don't do that. Don't do that. I would have missed out on so many amazing moments. And one of them would have been finding the love that I found in my husband. One of them would have been just not even having my daughter later on in life. I would have missed out on so many things if I would have just, I would have missed out on so many beautiful aspects of my life if I would have just kept that wall up. So understand that when you see me, the life that I have now, understand that it became the life that I have because I chose to have this life. I chose to not allow fear to depict my happiness. Learn how you can create emotional safety, be comfortable and vulnerable, and develop healthy expectations within yourself to begin to understand the value and importance of your own self-expression. Okay? You being able to express yourself is a beautiful thing. And yeah. So I really hope, hold on you guys. Okay. I really hope that something I said here today really helps you out. That really kind of made you think about the walls that we built within ourselves and how we just have this fear. And, just understand that life, especially the walls that you have within yourself, start to become so much easier if you allow yourself to be vulnerable. Because that's one of the things that I had the hardest time with. I had a hard time being vulnerable, and I didn't want to let anything in because I was raised with this whole personality. I developed this persona, that if I showed too much love or emotion, suddenly it made me weak. But I understand that, the weakness is built you know, behind that wall. That wall doesn't allow you to be free, doesn't allow you to express and love and feel all of these things. And not being who you truly are, that's weakness right there. And I was like, we not gonna be living behind this wall. And I don't want you to live behind that wall either, okay? Because I just want to see you. I want to see who you truly are. And I know that you want that person to show, because you will feel so good, you know? And I want you to feel what I feel, you know? So yes, I really hope that something that I said here today really helped you out. I hope that sharing a little bit of my feelings, you know, really helped you out in the long run. And if you really liked it and it helped you, feel free to email me at peopletalknow@hotmail.com. Reach out to me. Let me know how the show impacted you today or not. You could just DM me if you know me personally. And yeah, so, you know, if you made it this far, please give this video a thumbs up. And yes, so anyways, as always, you guys know that I like to leave every show with a joke and a word of the day, because I like you guys leaving with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of humor and a new word to build up your vocabulary. So today's word of the day is homage. So the definition of homage is a feudal ceremony by which a man acknowledges himself the vassal of a lord, the relationship between a feudal lord and his vassal, an act done or payment made in meeting the obligations due from a vassal to a feudal lord, an expression of high regard, respect, something that shows respect or attests to the worth or influence of another. So there you go. That's the word homage. Go out and use it in a sentence. Hashtag people talk now. Let me know how you use it in a sentence. If you don't want to do that, that's also fine. But just know that I will share it to my IG stories, because I think it's really cool, you know? See how we're using the language out there. Always really amazing to figure out new ways to use the, you know, the English language. Okay, so today's joke of the day is called "That's Cheap." So after being away on business, Tim thought it would be nice to bring his wife a little gift. How about some perfume? He asked the cosmetics clerk. She showed him a bottle costing $50. That's a bit much, said Tim. So she returned with a smaller bottle for $30. That's still quite a bit, Tim complained. Growing annoyed, the clerk brought out a tiny $15 bottle. What I mean, said Tim, is I'd like to see something really, really cheap. The clerk handed him a mirror. Ouch, that is like messed up on somebody. I would be so like, ooh, somebody roasted me like that. Anyways, yes. I hope that you guys enjoyed the show today. And if you did, feel free to reach out to me at peopletalknow@hotmail.com. And do not forget to give this video a huge thumbs up. And do not forget to share it with your friends and your loved ones and everybody that you know, because we want to continue keeping this channel growing and growing and growing. And yes, do not forget to subscribe to People Talk Now on your way out if you haven't already. And yes, as always, you guys already know, do not forget to hit that bell notification button, because every time you guys hit that bell notification button, it lets you guys know, the listeners and the watcher, when I post a new video, when I'm dropping new content. So you guys always want to stay on top of the game. And yes, it would mean a lot to me, as always, as well. So yeah. And as always, you guys already know, have a kick-ass Wednesday. Bye, you guys.